want to check us out on all of our social media platforms. On Twitter at tinfoilhatcast, reddit.com/r/tinfoilhatshow.
On Instagram at tinfoilhatpod.
Or allcomedyt-shirts.com.
Email us at tinfoilhatpod@gmail.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Tinfoil Hat.
Tinfoil Hat.
Tinfoil Hat.
Come with me into the waters of conspiracy with Sam Tripoli.
Sam Tripoli.
Sam
Tripoli.
Sam Tripoli.
Mr. Sam Tripoli. With my friend Ryan Davis.
Hi, Ryan.
We're like doing
First
this
gay couple of conspiracy theories.
I think it's beautiful, man.
Hold up there, partner. Say that again.
It's some mystical, deep, dark realm, crazy shit.
Wake up, Aaron. There's reptile people everywhere.
Hey man, we're spitting truth there, dog.
Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Revolution will be podcasted.
Yeah, it will be podcasted. Welcome to another episode of Tinfoil Hat. You know who we are. You know what we're here to do. All right? Guys, thanks for tuning in. What's up, Ryan? How are you?
Woo, living, loving. Excited for SF.
Big week. Big week. It's the Tinfoil Hat Comedy Night. Comedy and Conspiracy Night at Cobb's Comedy Club. That is June 1st, 8 p.m. And then June 2nd at the Sacktown Punchline, Sacramento Punchline. Two of my favorite cities to do stand-up in, so it should be fun. Come out, rock. Eddie Bravo, getting weird. We're gonna do some some stand-up, some Q&A. Then we're gonna find out who brought the most people, bring you backstage, do a little podcasting with you, or we'll find somewhere to do podcasting because we have a second show after us,
You know
so we
it.
won't be able to live in there. So go grab those tickets. Make sure you go to the Comedy Club website. Don't go to a third party. They're going to jack you for cash. Don't
Steal
spend
your
too much.
identity, sell it to Russian bots.
Sell them to, that's Mark Zuckerberg, which is great. So yeah, and we appreciate the 5-star reviews. We appreciate all the success. Your passion drives the show. I know you guys were kind of, it's been 50-50 on the last episode, and which is fine. You know, we did on socialism and libertarianism and all that stuff and capitalism. We were supposed to talk about Genghis Khan. Due to time restraints in the studio, we ended up talking about socialism, and I enjoyed the conversation.
It was great, man. You can't rush Tom Rhodes, man. I just wanted to listen to whatever you had to say.
And I just don't want this to become an echo. Before we bring in our guests, I just want to say, I don't want this show to become an echo chamber. I don't want to hear the things I already know being told to me by people. I want to hear all sides of the equation. The show will eventually get where I'll get two different people from both sides of the argument on at the same time to have a gentleman's discussion or a ladies' discussion about it as well. I don't want it just to be, lizard people 24/7. That's just not what I'm into. I want to hear I want to expand the show, I don't want to be limited to conspiracies. I want it to be
we're
everything.
learning. We're loving. You guys are getting us smarter, but our guests, man, they're opening our minds.
Yeah, I want it just to be a fun conversation, okay? And just like if you just want it to be the right side or just about Hollow Moon, it's just this. It's not what this is, man. This thing's a growth and having a discussion, because I think you find out over time we're more alike than we are different.
Completely, man.
So why don't you introduce our guest?
Well, I'm really excited from a podcast that I've been a fan of since it's, how long has it been around now?
YKWD or Apocalypse?
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, we have 15 episodes.
There you
so
go.
Nice.
We're new. We're
We're
babies.
new.
So
yeah.
that voice you're hearing right there is Miss Gabby Bryan, everyone.
What's up?
And one of the funniest comics I know, and a very good friend. He's just got done doing a really good run through some off-Broadway plays.
Yeah, regional, but yeah.
You don't have to qualify, dude. It's good shit.
Thank you.
Regional,
It was on Broadway.
national, international. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's just you doing you, boo.
Yeah, man.
Right? You saw him on Two Broke Girls. Please welcome my friend Jonathan Kite.
Thank you. What's up, buddy?
So we haven't seen you for a while. You've been
know,
doing
man.
theater.
Yeah, man. I did a show in New Brunswick, New Jersey called The Nerd, and it was awesome. We were talking off mic about how we were about, you really want to have something to say on stage.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was, I not that I ran out of stuff to do, but I wasn't enthusiastic about it.
Yeah,
and
but I get that,
going
man.
through the fucking, the motions, and it wasn't, and I go, it can't be good for this audience if it's not good for me.
I couldn't agree more. It's the struggle that I've been going through right now. This like where we're at in just life, and just like comedy's so interesting, man. Like I remember taking acting classes, and like the stuff they would talk about in acting classes was so taboo in stand up, Oh, you don't want to work dirty. You don't want to do that. And like every single like acting lesson, acting class, like, well, what's going on here? Oh, well, I'm concerned. No, dude, you want to have sex with her. You want to bang her. It's like it was so raw and so real. And stand-up was just like, we just love to run from that. Like, we love to get raw about acceptable topics. And
right, because you don't want to turn off the audience.
To be honest with you, I don't give a fuck if I turn off the audience. It's more about like what the owner of the club thinks, because it's just
like
like
get booked.
Yeah, it's like we got to get like 90 laughs per second, or else we're not like these. And I don't know how you do that getting real. Well,
that's the thing. I do a bit about. I tried to write a bit about like what I, felt about racism, and I remember I was up in Canada, but really far north, and it's a bit about how there's a show out that Steve Harvey's Family Feud, and I think that show pits white people against black people. It's like Race Wars, the game show, And there was the white people would not laugh at that, and there was one black woman in the back who was like, I get it. And I'm like, I'm just talking to you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
I don't care about anybody else in this room right now. I'm just talking to you.
If you're black and you listen to this show, God bless you. Thank you. We've tried to get into black conspiracies. There's like two of them. There's like crack and then who shot Biggie. Those are the big black conspiracies out there.
Yeah.
Right? But I feel for them, because when they come to a comedy club and someone does a comic, and we'll say a white comic, does a joke referring to black people, there is immense pressure on the black people to overly smile and laugh at it, so everybody else can feel comfortable.
It's like
with
they're on stage just as much as you are.
They become part of the duo.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like we teach racial sensitivity, but I mean we don't differentiate between racial and racism. And it's like, you can't tell me to celebrate diversity and then also tell me I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Which is like a big thing.
Well, that's what because for whatever reason, maybe it's the shows that people who come see me, I'm not really sure, but I always go, do you think there's racism in America? And every time as I'm saying that, I look out in the crowd and I always say afterwards, a room full of mostly white people.
Yeah.
Do you think, and then they're very, passive about it, where they sort of bobblehead agree with me. And I was like, find a brown person in this room. They're looking at you right now thinking, there's racism in this motherfucking room.
But there's also like when you go to black shows, like you go to there's these black comics on the road that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
That just sell out the improv.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
There's a whole theory that if it wasn't for black comedy, most of these improv chains would
go
close
under.
down.
Yeah.
But do we ever hear black comics going, oh, where are the white people? How come there's no white people up in this motherfucker? Or anything like that. It's very interesting, the whole play. It's just like, there's this whole, I'm like, when I went to upstate New York and I was seeing my family and I was driving around, I thought, man, if people actually came and saw how some people, how the world that they're born into, and this notion that all this or all, like how we make these generalities about people based on race, both like the notion that a white person's automatically born into privilege, and like you see these people
Absolutely.
who are born with two strikes against them, and this isn't a white rally. This is like, we're more alike than we are different, and like this fighting, like this Roseanne Barr shit, it's just like, it's so like, it was so incredibly stupid that it makes you want to put on your tinfoil hat and go, there's got to be a conspiracy here, because nobody would work this fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And I think she did. It's a dumb, I mean, like we were just talking before the show, it is basic human nature 101.
How could you possibly think that I should press send on that tweet?
Or there would be no backlash.
You just be like, this will be funny.
This'll go unnoticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I work for a family TV show. Let me just post
on
an
a Disney-owned network.
Yeah.
That has huge ties in its past to Nazism, and you're calling this guy a Nazi. It's like, listen, man, the truth of the matter is this. The higher up you go into any gig at all, the more money you make, and that money isn't really for doing the job. The money is really to just, you represent the company, you're giving up a little bit of your freedom. It's just true. Or you go the role of like Joe Rogan, who creates his own market for himself, and he can say whatever the fuck he wants because no one can fire him.
Yeah.
It's just, that's why I don't do that dance.
I think if you book big, just delete your Twitter. Just fucking delete it.
Yeah, because you think about all the stuff that they're finding about people back in the,
Yeah, just sifting through old tweets.
Which that's what people do.
delete
The
it.
moment.
Is there an app for that, or is there someone with no fucking time?
No
No
fucking
time.
time.
No time.
Yeah.
All the time in the world. And that's the thing because in our society now, once somebody gets big, trolls out there go, how can I take this person down?
And it's anybody too. Melissa
Yeah.
Villasenor, they tried. She's the nicest
The
girl I've ever met.
nicest person.
They tried to get her kicked off Saturday Night Live, and it has nothing to do with actually invoking any kind of change.
They don't care.
They just go,
they want to
game
see
hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that is their big thing. It's like, I cost him a gig. And it's like, okay, congrats, man. Yay for you. How'd
Right.
you make the world any
Right. I was
better?
going to say, taking
Yeah,
them
yeah.
down, they feel like it's a win column for them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you
time.
guys are all from, because I'm from the West Coast originally. Sam, upstate New York. Abby,
Jersey.
Jersey. All right.
Yeah.
And what's comedy like there? Do you still go back and play? And what's it like West Coast, East Coast? Like, and same thing to you, Ko.
I mostly go up in Brooklyn, little shows in New York and stuff like that. So I'm still kind of new to comedy. I've only been doing it for like 2 years, but there's a scene in New Jersey, like Asbury Park. I don't know if you guys like know the music scene down there a little bit, but there's comedy that runs through it for sure.
So,
Stress Factory was right there.
Yeah, Stress Factory, Uncle Vinny's.
I know that Bill Burr said like he'd gone back to New York and he couldn't believe how sensitive some of the crowds were, and and it's just gonna eventually happen. I mean, like the East Coast gets the same media we get; they get bombarded with this stuff. I think the thing that I like about New York over LA, and there's probably a bunch of stuff you could say about that, but it's like LA's a very, and we'll get into this will lead us into your podcast, but
Sure.
It's very segregated. Like you don't really think about it until you really start thinking about it. Like
Neighborhoods. It's 27 different neighborhoods makes up LA.
and they're all like the same kind of group in those in those things. So as much
It's like Hunger Games.
Completely. Silver Lake, Echo Park,
Yeah.
Los Feliz.
you move to a certain where your crew
It
lives.
defines. There's so much about you that says. Now, not everybody falls into that stereotype,
course.
but it's like there's a general that you can say that there's a certain price point to live at any of those places.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of those places have their own businesses, and if you don't have to, you don't see other people.
Yeah.
If you don't want
Yeah.
to, you don't have to.
That's the
So-
fucking crazy part about LA.
in New York, I feel like, and I know there are still boroughs, and but I feel like people all live on top of each other.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's therefore, if I make a joke about somebody, they actually had these people in their life, and they realize, oh yeah, that's funny. That's an observation that's funny. It's my theory that everybody should have to work at Denny's for 2 years after high school to get like how the real world works.
Yeah.
Like this notion that like these fucking crazy people on the left in this town keeps pushing to like get like 16-year-olds to vote. You mean the kids who have no life experience are going to vote on how we should live our life? We purposely make it so they feel no life experiences so they
Yeah.
can develop who they are. And this whole notion. So when I go to New York, you can make fun of people more because everybody lives on top of each
And
other.
we're a little more like fucking brutally honest. We're like, all right, make fun of me. I like it. That's funny. Here, the audiences are a little quieter. Everyone's like a little more testy, just like, I don't know.
I think a lot of it here is also celebrity culture that they want to see. Oh my God, did Chris Rock just drop in to do a set? That's a lot of
Yeah.
times, I think I think places in New York that I've been to and performed at, like, they're going to, the same type of comics like rotate in and out of there, and they just know they're going to get that. I mean, it may be famous people, but there's no expectation from tourists there. They might have heard of those comics, they may not have, but I think that a lot of the tourists here are celebrity obsessed in spotting them in some capacity, which is why there's TMZ tours and all that stuff. There was actually a tour bus that went through a neighborhood up in the hills, and my friend had a family friend that lived in a house next to him, and I go, why do these tour buses keep keep going by that house at the end. And she goes, because tours lie to them and tell them that Gwyneth Paltrow lives there. And she's like, in Gwyneth Paltrow, she goes, she's never lived there. Like, you see the person who they're waving at right now, the tours tell them that is the pool person. and so it's like they create this, we might see somebody. And she's like, you will never see the people that they, I mean, I'm not saying on no tours, but it's just like in that specific, she said tours all the time, bring them to that house.
LA's in, I think LA's in weird places right now. I just think it's trying to figure itself out because, I mean, have you ever seen as many remakes? I mean, everything is a remake now. And there's so many creative people. If you go to the internet, it's so fucking creative. Yet the people with the money just want to put out the same shit. And it only pushes everything to the internet now.
Yeah.
They're remaking Mary Poppins. Can it get any more classic than Mary Poppins?
Didn't they just remake Mary Poppins?
No, it's like a sequel.
They made up a Blackie or Blanny or whatever. Black
okay,
Annie.
we got to retract that statement.
He did not mean to say.
So you think about the tours. You think of everybody coming here. And I mean, sometimes I'm stuck in traffic. And I just think about if shit hit the fan, how the fuck am I getting out of here? And I know that Bill Burr specifically got into flying helicopters for the whole idea of how to get out of LA in an apocalypse situation. And that's kind of what your podcast is about. Tell us about your podcast.
So my podcast is a podcalypse. We kind of just like make fun of different apocalypse situations. We go back in history. We did the Spanish influenza. We do like a zombie apocalypse, a tech apocalypse. It's fucking hilarious. But we talk a lot about bug out bags and what you're going to pack when the world ends.
Well, real quick before you get the bug out bags, because I love this topic. How do people become zombies? Is it super gonorrhea? Is that what makes everybody eventually become?
It's super herpes, and gonorrhea all over you.
Yeah, you get the super gonorrhea, and next thing you know, you're eating brains and shit.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen, right? That things go weird.
There's actually, I forget the name of it. There's this crazy thing that do you guys have cats?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're talking
you
about
have cat face. You look like you have cats.
Toxoplasmosis.
Yes, I am exactly talking
What
about
is it?
It's a blood-borne virus that affects mice that
I've heard of
that makes them attracted to the urine of cats, so that makes them fearless, and then it makes them sexually active, whatnot. So if you have a cat, chances are toxoplasmosis will be transferred to you via a flea bite. And then you yourself are more likely to take more chances if you're a man to be a cage fighter, to drive a motorcycle, or if you're a woman, you're more likely to be sexual.
But there's more. It's like it's this odor that comes off of a litter box too that makes you obsessed with cats even further.
Oh, yes.
Like you get like a weird feeling in your body that you're like, I fucking love cats. And it's just
is that why cat people are so creepy?
Yes, this is the theory.
Holy
it's a neurotransmitter. I believe it's a neuropeptide that bonds you. Like when you make physical contact with someone, you're creating oxytocin.
Don't touch me.
Did you see that? You like that?
That was so sensual.
If you if like a couple hold hands for up to I believe like 5 minutes a day, like solid hand holding, you end up lasting something like 10 years longer in your relationship. So it's the bonding chemical. You just made
it so every guy's got to hold hands for 5 minutes today.
Yeah, I'm never going to forget that.
It's all how you hold hands. You can't do the intertwine.
Locking that in.
What you do is
for sure.
You slit your palm open.
Yeah.
You did it to her, and then you just hold.
Blood brothers.
Yeah.
Well, here's the real crazy thing about that.
Life.
Toxoplasmosis.
Yeah.
I believe it's something like 86% of all Brazilians are infected with it. Brazilians are sexy women that are carnival.
With big dicks, am I right?
No.
Brazilians are the best cage fighter. Jiu-jitsu came from there, so it makes you just the coolest person, basically. You can probably dance, you can fuck.
So interesting.
And what about Brazilian cats?
Dude, they're probably...
They fuck. You think Brazilian people fuck? Come on, Brazilian cats, they fuck. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that's crazy. So
yeah, it's wild.
So
the butts on those Brazilian cats. Woo!
They're gonna start the whole fucking zombie apocalypse.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's gonna start
What's it
there.
called again? What's
toxoplasmosis?
Yeah, something like that.
Toxoplasmosis, dude. God
I
damn,
forgot.
dude. We learned something today.
So do you have a bug out bag?
Okay, so
what is a bug out bag?
A bug out bag is a bag you will take when the world ends. You have to fucking leave in a second. That's your bag. That's everything you should have. right? So my co-host, Katie Hannigan, is obsessed with Apocalypse. That's how we got into it. And she has her own bug out bag. I've never had one, but now I'm getting more paranoid as we do more episodes. I'm like, I need a fucking bug out bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if there is an apocalypse, the co-host of Apocalypse can't be dead. Because
I'm the
she's
one
like,
who dies?
Yeah.
She's like, how many times did she yell at us to get a bug out
This
bag?
is so embarrassing.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah, she was trampled by people with bug out bags trying to go back in to get hers.
So yeah, now I'm just thinking about what to put in my bug out bag. I don't know.
They gave us, I think, so when we 1 year at Warner Brothers for Two Broke, they give you gifts. It's a nice thing. It's like have a great season or whatever.
Sure.
And I think they might have given us a bug out bag. I'm gonna go home and look.
Yeah.
Because I was going through it.
Go right now and come back.
Guys, can we pause?
Yeah, pause.
Quick pause.
There's dead air for 45 minutes, but we're still rolling. And just me racing in. I couldn't call anybody. Guys, it was. Anyway, what were we talking about?
No, dude, it was a workout bag. My bad.
My bad.
So sorry.
Yeah. But I think it had like flares in it and stuff.
Oh, shit.
I think it was a bug out bag.
That's funny that they gave you that.
Yeah, I love because I always think of doomsday preppers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I love when like the news goes in like a very, not that news people are normal, but they're supposed to be these unbiased, like it's like Channel 10 News, and they send somebody into the field to talk to like these militias that are growing in the woods.
Yeah.
And it's like the person who's like the most base is talking to the most extreme,
Yeah.
but somehow the most competent of the people,
Yeah.
who's just not screaming
Yeah.
like guns.
Yeah.
So they got to decide on who their spokesperson is going to be.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to relay to you how what they're doing is like necessary because it's going to happen.
They're all very calm too. It's
Too
fucking
calm.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too
Like,
calm for
so,
holding that many guns.
We'll take the tunnel, and it's very cool.
Yeah.
We're prepared,
Yeah.
but we are taking tunnels.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Who dug tunnels? And they just like at 10 shovels go up.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so interesting, man.
They're usually
Yeah.
overweight and in their 60s. I'm like, how long are you going to survive on
Well, they're
this
all
apocalypse?
ex-military. A lot of them
Yeah.
are ex-military.
Yeah, and cops. There's a bunch of Bronx cops that are preppers. And you're
Whoa.
like, so you guys are just going to leave us?
We're
Good luck.
Dude, once chaos breaks out,
Cops
there's
are gonna
going
no
to be
law.
no
No order.
law.
Yeah.
The illusion of structure will go away, and you could tell this because you ever see like a traffic signal go out? Chaos breaks out.
Yeah.
Immediately.
It becomes
Immediately.
knuckle dragger, alpha versus alpha on who's going to get through this fucking light. We act like there's some rules, but nobody fucking cares. We talked about this before, but one of my favorite sketches of all time on Saturday Night Live was Will Ferrell doing the news, and then the teleprompter breaks down.
Yeah.
And they gotta do
Yeah.
it. And they come back from commercial, and it gets farther. He's eating fucking people's heads and shit, right? It's like, that's like the rules of society are just there to get us once everything's working well. Once that's gone, it is gonna be chaos. But I always wonder if because it's like we just did an episode with a buddy of mine from high school who's super religious, and his name's El Dorado, and that's his nickname, and he got super into the Bible, and he was like breaking down like what is going on in the Middle East right now and how it's all just like end of days craziness. Like there are people who've read the Bible that are in very powerful places that are forcing this shit to happen.
Yeah, it's a script.
shit.
It's not.
Yeah, they're taking it literal. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Brexit, the leaving, that is all old biblical craziness. Like the Lost Tribes of Israel, Brexit, UN versus the Lost Tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
All foretold a long time ago. And there's crazy people who invested so much time into this, and they're getting into their 70s and their 80s, and like nothing's happened, and they're freaking the fuck out. So they're like doing whatever they can to get this rapture party started,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Oh my
like
God.
send as anybody in 23andMe that's got Hebrew in their DNA, boom, you can go hang out in it. They're just trying to pack it in.
So true. Well, if you look into a lot of the cults, like cults that said, where the world is ending fucking September 21st, right?
Right.
And it gets to September 21st, and always the cult leaders are like, like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like 2 more weeks,
Yeah.
probably. And then they leave. And then they
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
disappear.
They have to get out of there. Yeah.
They're just
Well,
like
think about
buying
Y2K.
time. Yeah.
Y2K.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, it's going to restart. And then nothing.
And these
did.
are giant money grabs. A lot
Oh
of
my
like
God.
Y2K
Always.
was just a money grab.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme.
And it's just like, you know, and we're gonna get back into the bug bag, but it's like you take a look at this. Like, you remember a year ago there were Nazis everywhere. Everywhere there was Nazis. You couldn't turn. You go look under your bed. There's a Nazi with a tiki torch hanging out. Right.
Sure.
Like nothing. Don't hear about where there's no tiki torch marches, anything
They
like
just
that.
sat down. They're done, I guess.
Yeah, they're just like, they called it a day. You know, North Korea was everywhere. It's just, and like, you just start learning how like they can literally like turn the outrage on, press a button, outrage, hit the button, outrage goes down.
Yeah.
Hit the button, outrage. And it's just like, they just emotionally manipulate us,
Yeah.
right? So like, I always wondered, and I know you're 15 episodes in, so I'm sure you're learning as you're going.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, is there immense pressure on people to almost have this apocalypse happen to warrant like all this investment into that type of lifestyle? Like, wasn't there a prepper show where like they were just prepping and then they got
and then
bored,
nothing
so they
happened.
started a weed company?
Yeah. I think people just need to fucking occupy their hands.
Yeah, remember when before our time, but people had bomb shelters,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the bomb never
Oh.
came.
Do yourself a favor and Google $1 million bunkers and your fucking face will fall off. There are like rich people.
It's the
in
new
this
version of
country.
Cribs.
Yes, literally. They're spending millions of dollars on bunkers underground with like underground pools and fucking greenhouses.
That's their summer home.
I love that
yeah.
rich people think during the apocalypse there's going to be time to get a couple laps in at the pool.
It's hilarious.
I love that during the apocalypse that they're like, we better spend this money now because
Yeah.
it's going to be worse shit when the
Yeah.
apocalypse hit.
Yeah.
For sure, dude.
Yeah.
For sure. That's why the people say that there's a lot of gold. People are hoarding gold
Oh,
right
yeah.
now, which is a big thing. It's like, you know, it's like for me, that's weed. Like, I don't smoke weed, but I get sponsored by it, so I'm always taking weed joints. And I know eventually that's, you know, it's as good as
You'll use it.
collateral,
Oh
dude.
my
Yeah.
Especially in LA.
I can pay for shit. Hey,
Yeah.
here's a, and then you know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're going to have to figure out the barter system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So bug bags. What?
Bug out bags, yeah.
Bug out bags.
Yeah.
How big is the typical bug out bag?
So people range. Like if you're a sane person, you have a little bag in your room filled with tampons. If you're a girl, if you're a real
what's gonna
prepper,
happen about that?
I don't know. That's all I can think about it. I'm gonna fill a bug out bag with tampons and contacts. What
Oh,
the fuck
I didn't
are we
even
gonna
think
do?
of that.
What if someone snaps your glasses?
You're
fucked.
How blind are you?
I'm blind
Oh.
as a goddamn bat.
If it goes down right now, John, it's just me and you leaving this.
I was gonna
These
say.
people are going to hold us back.
Dude,
done.
I'll use my Armo Rage and just get out. I'll go Hulk smash on everything and get the fuck out.
Like he just ran into a closet. Does he know that? He'll figure it out.
He'll get there. He'll
So
get
a
there.
bug out bag is a couple years worth supply of tampons and contacts.
I never thought
an
about that,
eyeliner if
like,
you want to be cute after the world
chicks-
ends. Yeah,
Chicks having to, like, yeah, what do you do, man?
we're fucked. Leaves? I don't know.
What is going to happen
Leaves,
with that?
I'll be honest with you, are not as absorbent as you think.
Have you tried that out?
No, but I always think about it in like Survivor and shows
Yeah.
like that. I'm like, I know they're going for twigs to wipe their ass right
Do we
now.
just stop
It's
wiping
like-
our ass during the apocalypse? Are we all agree that like we're running around with poop butt at this point?
Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
just
Yeah, that's
fucking
the.
shakes
By the way,
hands on
that's the least of our worries.
Yeah. First thing we lose in the apocalypse is ass eating. It's like it's
It's
gone.
like,
we don't have
guys,
time.
Guys,
We
Everybody
remember the
keep-
good
We're
old
done.
days.
Yeah.
Remember when we used to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Boy, the apocalypse really fucked that up for us.
Yeah.
Oh man, those were
Dumb.
simpler times, Sam.
Yeah.
That was
Back
how
in
we're.
my day.
That's how we're like categorized in history, the ass-eating
Yeah,
generation.
yeah, yeah.
gonna be
Oh my
remembered
god, that went away.
As the ass-pocalypse. Be like,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
what a good time in
The
history.
second greatest generation.
Well, there's 5 things you should have for sure. Water's one of them.
Yeah.
But what's more important is a water
Purifier.
A
100%.
life straw. You know the life straw.
What is
Explain-
a life straw?
A life straw. We did a whole episode on it. Is a straw that you put in your water and it filters it through the fucking straw while you're sipping.
It has charcoal in it.
I have no idea off the top of my head. I did know. You should listen to our episode. But yeah, it filters it. And there's also a flashlight that you flash into the water, and that purifies it as well.
What?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
uses UV protection. It shows on the website, it's like a little African kid just like kneeling down into like this disgusting pond, and you can just drink out of that.
Is
crazy.
this all available on Alex Jones's website?
Amazon.
Oh my God.
The life straw is
I'm
on
only buying
Amazon.
Alex Jones brand, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
He's all about silver. You just got to consume so much silver. You know?
Oh my God. He's hoarding silver in his body. He's a silver mine.
Yeah.
The other one is you definitely got to have a first aid kit.
Hold on, dude. We got the light. You can.
So it's called a UV light. What it does is it basically kills anything, about 99.9% of stuff. But you can't just like drink out of like a cup of like AIDS blood and expect to be all right. But
Yeah.
everything else.
But
Hold on,
Try.
dude. Are you saying that the light kills AIDS? Why wouldn't they use that right now? Just go around West Hollywood, just hitting everybody with it.
Like Men in Black. Just
Yeah.
like, Jesus.
But wait. How much are we talking for this light?
Yeah. How much is this light? What are we talking?
Life
Right.
straw's cheap. I think the light is more like a couple $100s. They're not that bad because people take them camping.
And let me ask you: Do they wear out? Do I have to get another life straw? Or
That's
is
what
this
we were joking about. Like, what about? Do we have to get batteries for it? What the fuck?
You have to, by
happens?
the way, because if Brita only lasts me 3 months, there's no way that this straw is doing more
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It might be nuclear powered, and you probably just get.
Well, I get
You
radiation
just
nose
sucking
poison.
radiation
Yeah,
down.
so-
You won't live past 3 months anyway.
Yeah. I get nose hair trimmers, and they break after 2 weeks. They're
Yeah.
$15. It's not going to last.
That might be on you though. What's going on?
Well,
up
I got
there?
Armenian nose hair,
Okay.
so like that thing, it's hard to take it down. It's like cutting down.
It's
a
made by
tree.
Black & Decker.
Yeah. Deforestation.
So yeah, definitely water, first aid kit, because out there, since injury can mean certain death.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever got an infected cut out in the woods. You suddenly realize like, oh shit, man,
Yeah.
Neosporin is a miracle drug. You know?
100%.
I'll throw Neosporin on everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
I don't even give a shit. I'll throw it on some hams and eggs.
And you ready? Here's a surprising one: a tarp. An 8x10 tarp is one of the best survival tools you can have in order to make a quick shelter.
Wow.
Have you ever made like a lean-to or anything like this, guys?
You know what I've decided? You know where the real money is in? Fucking bug out bags with wheels on them. Look how long it took them to put it on suitcases flying. Why don't we put some bug out bags with some
How
fucking wheels on
American
them?
is that?
Yeah.
If you can't pull it,
Yeah.
and then
You know?
and I'm going to leave it behind. It's like, Jerry, just put it on your back. And he goes, I'm not going to do that. And that's
some
how we
wheels
lost
on
Jerry.
As soon as it got to dirt, he's like,
He's
ah.
just over there like a Pinewood Derby car, just like putting wheels on. You're like, Jerry, just a hole in the back now, buddy.
That's how towns will start. It'll be just be like
tarp.
Jerry Lind. You'll be like, how'd this start? Ah, the guy was lazy.
Yeah.
Mountain.
I'm not
Built a
leaving here.
shelter around
Yeah.
him.
Well, you ever think about that? Like how did settlers settle Phoenix, Arizona? Like how hot it is?
How? Why?
Why would
are
they just
still
like,
there?
fuck, man, let's just die here? And
They
then
just
some-
got hot, and they're
That-
like, "Can we stop?"
Yeah.
And then somebody came by a few years later and was like, you know, there's water like right there.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I'm the mayor. I can't leave.
Well, one time when I was driving up, me and my buddy Scott, when I first moved out here, we had to go back to Vegas to do a charity event. And halfway to Vegas, my car engine explodes.
Oh.
And it's at nighttime. We're stuck.
Are you past Zizix?
I don't know. It's so dark. I don't even know, right? So I'm like, my friend's like, hey, just stay here. I'll walk it. I'm like, you don't have to be brave, dude. He's like, no, I'm going to walk it. So he gets out and he starts walking, and he walks maybe 10 minutes that way. Comes back. He's like, there's nothing. We're stuck, right? So we go to bed. We wake up. Like 20 feet that way was the phone. You know?
Oh,
He
my
just
God.
gone the wrong way, and he didn't find a fucking phone.
That's amazing.
Because it was so dark, man.
I just drove. I was in Arizona for Memorial Day weekend, and I'd never been to the Grand Canyon. I stayed in this place called Happy Jack, Arizona, and when I got back, there was no gas in my car. I mean, I didn't realize it, and the closest gas station was 25 miles away.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, you know.
You're
And
like,
it was,
here's where I die.
yeah. This is what. But I was like, what a view. What a
What a
fucking
gorgeous
view.
death
What a
I'll have.
gorgeous.
What a
last-
great way to go
to
out.
close my eyes.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. So, but it's like that, there's now these pockets where the people that I was renting the VRBO from, they had,
They're renting the what?
it's like Airbnb. VRBO was a cabin.
So
out
they
there.
specific now.
They had there's like 2 different websites. Like there was everything on Airbnb was pretty much booked because it's Memorial Day weekend.
Oh yeah.
And it was I went with my girlfriend and we had we found this amazing cabin, but it was literally in the middle of nowhere. It's like a doomsday settling.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like they actually had a spare tank of gas.
Of course they did. Fucking
And I
of course
said,
they
you know,
did.
it's funny because they were so kind, the people that we rented from, but they were just like, yeah, you have to help everybody out here because there's nothing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like the cell service was it was like
How
an
much was that a
apocalypse.
gallon? $50?
Brother, I work for them now.
Yeah.
I'm an indentured servant, bro. Are you kidding me? I got to go back. This
Right
is,
now.
Yeah, this is. It was like I said. It was life saving. We couldn't get there because Winslow was the next town in the other direction. It was 40 miles. And it was crazy, and you don't notice it. You're driving back. When I was driving back, I was trying not to hit animals on the road.
Yeah.
It's
They
true.
just
There was
start out. They're like,
huge.
fuck it.
Yeah, and they were like,
Fuck,
we
my
live
area's
here.
done.
And
Fuck,
they-
I'm a deer.
And
I'm
by
just
the way,
gonna run.
you see them on the road, so
Yeah.
you know people hit them all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was ridiculous, and we get there, and then like the little fuel like goes on. I go, oh man, that means I have like 20, 30 left, but I wasn't sure, and then I still had about 10 miles to go. So I'm like slowing it down to like use as little as I possibly can. You know, it's like we're getting lapped by jackrabbits.
Yeah.
And then we pull off, and it's just like, and then I message. I'm like, you know, do you have any suggestions? And they were like, yeah, we have gas.
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
so nice.
they were they were such nice people, and they literally like Doomsday. They rely on other people.
Yeah.
Because the houses are not close together, which is part of the reason you buy the property out there. So you really, I mean, you could walk out there. Besides the wind, there was no noise. It was crazy. You just don't experience that, you know.
Yeah.
But it was really insane.
That's a whole world. You think of just like being so unplugged from everything.
Talk about
middle
off
of
the grid.
nowhere. You're like,
It's so funny because we're used to being in the city, and I'm like, if I don't stop and get a latte before I get to my job, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
And they're
I
like,
was
I have to
looking-
drive 40 miles.
That's what it
for a
was.
water bottle.
It was 50 miles to Starbucks. That was because I was just like, let me just see where there's coffee, you know. And there was one that was like 42.8 miles, and then I thought like, well, that could be a diner, but I need something to go, you know. But the Starbucks were in Flagstaff, which was 50 miles.
dude, everybody hates that there's a Starbucks on every corner until there's not a Starbucks on every corner.
Yeah.
And then you flip the fuck out.
Even when I come
Yeah.
here, like I'm used to living in New York and just walking down the street and being like, I need a Band-Aid and a latte and what was a seltzer, right?
Yeah.
Here, I'm like, I have to fucking drive there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw up.
There's in New York, it's like there's a Band-Aid store above a Starbucks, above a seltzer store.
and you live on top of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like because I would go into the city a lot living, and it's so funny. When I would go there, I could just literally I would come into Penn Station, and then if I'd be like, oh, I need whatever, and then you just look and you'd be like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
it's
if you
literally
didn't know.
in my hand
yeah,
already.
it's unreal. And then
Yeah.
here, going to get like this small, like I dropped off something that needed a repair like before I left, and I realized I'm going to St. Louis this weekend, you know, and I was like, oh no, I don't have enough time to drive and pick it up before I leave.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's not near me. So
Yep.
I'm like, I guess I'll do without, or they just got that for free.
Our mass transit is so bad here
Oh,
because
it's-
like in the 40s, I think, or the 30s,
Yeah.
like GM just came in and they're like, oh man, we're going to take all your mass transit and it's now Mexico City. All that mass transit is LA's old system, man. So
Yeah.
we've been wanting to build like this train system out here, kind of like New York. The rich people won't let it go through certain places.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Remember
Yeah.
in Beverly Hills, they
Yeah.
were trying to bring the train through, and they were kept saying, and the people were like, we don't want it by the schools. And so they made this huge I can't remember exactly what the argument was, but it was.
But we have we already have all these systems. They're down
And
there.
it's the better.
It's already there. Yeah.
Why don't we just use that? Why do we got to build
It's crazy.
brand new? Because
Yeah.
it's all corruption and everybody's
It's
got to
jobs.
get paid.
Exactly. That's what it is. Think about Wilshire and La Brea, how long that train is being built. I'm hoping my grandkids get to ride it.
It's just like
Think about The
cronyism.
Simpsons. They built that monorail in an episode.
Listen, dude, China isn't perfect by any means. What they do to their people is bad. I went and did stand up in China. They
Yeah.
were telling me they built 25 tunnel systems in 20 years because they just do it.
Well, but what about the buildings? They have a 3D
Crazy.
printer that build, because I was there for stand up too.
3D
3D
printer?
printer is building buildings. It's like, and we can't, and we are on our 7th president
Yeah.
since that train started to get built. It's like unbelievable. Yeah, that train was named after Garfield. And it was just like, it's not gonna happen now.
I wonder if 3D printers can make bug out bags. Do you think they got that going?
That'd
That
be
thing?
cool. That'd be
They
very
can make a
fucking
lot
cool.
of crazy shit.
Yeah.
So we need a tarp, right? A
And-
tarp.
A
is
tarp?
like-
An 8x10 tarp is super important. To
Why?
go with that, it's
why
'cause
is it super important?
You can
Rain,
make
shelter.
You can collect rainwater.
Why are we afraid of
Drink.
rain so bad? Is it that it
It's
makes
the
us
pollution
cold,
in the air, I think, a lot
and
of
then
times.
we get sick because we get
Yeah,
cold?
hypothermia. Pollution.
When was the last time you went like hardcore camping? Like actually camped under the stars?
That would be never.
Well, hey,
I did it growing up. My father was, we were in the Cub Scouts and I did Boy Scouts, and my father was our pack leader. And so we used to go camping all the time.
I'm
and
an
we would
Eagle
eat
Scout.
anything. Oh, oof.
Eagle
Cheers
Scout?
on you, my friend.
Good for you.
Yep.
Yeah, this guy's an Eagle Scout.
By the way, you should be the face of Eagle Scouts.
Yeah.
It's just called the Scouts now. The Boy Scouts is no longer.
Oh, I heard
Boy
about
Scouts.
Oh
that.
my God, I forgot about that.
But so the Scouts allows girls in, but the Girl Scouts won't let boys in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
fuck
that's,
y'all.
That's
So-
typical.
I love that.
That's
It's like, how many
typical.
cookies do I need to sell?
Yeah.
I applied at this age.
But at the same time,
This age.
only speaking from my personal experience, I'm like 13 years old trying to hide from girls that I'm in Scouts.
Still at 13?
Oh, yeah. You have until you're 18 to get your Eagle Scout. And I got it like on my 17th birthday party.
Yeah, you have until that 18th
Very
year.
cool.
kinda
Is that like in a black belt?
It is
It's-
less than 3% ever achieved the rank of Eagle. If I was to go into like the military, I would have moved up a couple ranks automatically. It's a pretty hard.
It's hard.
Whoa.
Yeah, I didn't get there.
It's like the Navy SEAls of like kids
Steven
activity.
Spielberg, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, there's a lot- yeah.
The dude that supposedly walked on that fake moon set right around the corner from here.
Oh, Bruce.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. One small step for.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
the actor Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
So we should do it
IMDb
sometime.
that shit.
That's
but
his
what's
only credit. And From Here to the Moon with Tom Hanks.
Never did an interview about it. Isn't that crazy? Like you've done one of the greatest things of all time, and you've never done an interview on it.
Very strange.
It is very strange.
If he grew up with Instagram, wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
He'd
It
be on
would
there
be a
every day
story
being
on
like,
the
"Hey, I'm on the moon."
With a puppy face.
With the moon graphic, he has like,
Yeah.
take me 2 years later. I'm like, that's Mars, you son of a.
not to get to. Do you still do Tom Hanks? Because that is one of the. Does anyone?
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny is because I
Can we
honestly
get him to do some promos for Tinfoil Hat? you
Yeah,
know?
I can do that.
Cool.
It's funny because you were so nice to me because you put me up when I first started doing stand up, and it's funny. I used to do a lot of impressions because I didn't have any. I mean, I started when I was in the second season of Broke Girls, and so
yeah.
I was just going up and doing a lot of voices and stuff, nothing personal, because the show for me was like a separate thing that I didn't want to bring on stage. It was like a different world that I wasn't like. I had such a positive experience. It's like there was nothing to complain about. Not saying that that's what comedy is, but like I didn't even have. Like my perception of it, I was trying to find the humor in it, and I was like, nah, just leave it what it was. But I
Yeah.
could do voices and stuff, and so it's funny. I'm trying to get back into it because I'll figure out. That's what I try to do. When the time I took off, I took like 2 months off, and I've tried to think about a couple things about it, and it's funny because I haven't done these impressions in so long, and I was like going over them yesterday because I'm gonna do them in St. Louis. And so it's like, but I did Tom Hanks because I was trying to do impressions of people that I had never heard people do impressions
Yeah.
of. So that was like,
How did that one start? Because like, how do you? Because that's no one does. Everyone just walk in. Everyone just Stallone.
Well, I felt bad for
Schwarzenegger.
impressionists for a while because, Ben. I mean, it became just where you had to be a pretty person. How do you do an impression of a pretty person?
well, that, what's funny is that the older generation, like if you think of, I don't know, John Wayne, those type of guys, they were sort of hired and praised for their on-screen personality. Whether they were like that or not, who's to say? You can watch interviews, but that's still public. And the thing is, with now, you're sort of rewarded, especially dramatic actors, for losing yourself, like Philip Seymour Hoffman or Christian Bale. And so it's definitely harder to do impressions of people today. There are comedians, like I can do Seth Rogen, I can do Vince Vaughn, stuff like that. But it's like when you think of the actors today, like, people try to do like Jake Gyllenhaal or Ryan Gosling.
There's
It's like,
no such thing.
it's
Yeah.
so, I mean, like I could sort of hear every now and then you sort of hear something that you can do, but to do it long enough that somebody would recognize it in a crowd and then have a joke on top of it. Cause a lot of it's hard. It's a weird thing. But I learned Tom Hanks because I did The Burbs is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I grew up in I grew up in a neighborhood right outside Chicago, Skokie, Illinois. And for Nazi fans, it's that's where the Nazis marched in the early 80s and or late 70s. And we had a neighborhood where it seemed very peaceful. Like, you know, it just seemed like very, you know, everything was like peachy keen box shit. And when I was growing up, there was a delivery from Saudi Arabia of a huge hand-carved picture frame, like 10 by 10 feet. And the cops, I don't know if they had a tip or whatever, they broke into the house and they opened it up and it was filled with bags of heroin. And then by the house that was adjacent to the school, cops did a raid on that, and there was like a Terminator 2 armory under the floor that they just pulled guns and grenades and everything. So it was like there was a lot of this stuff, but then you think like we had the quiet town. Yep. And so when I watched The Burbs growing up, I thought that was the funniest movie. I mean, I thought it was so true. And so I like at the end when Tom Hanks is like screaming when he's like, "Oh, take me to the..." And so I always just like that because the guys are like he's at his like wit's end, you know, at the end of the movie when he can't figure out if these people are bad or not. And it's like, you know, you don't want to judge people, like you don't want to be racist or stereotypical in your thought process and judgment. And so that was like the first time I just plucked it out, was hearing him do that. It was just like,
is he the only good guy left? I feel
Brother,
like
I
he's
have a
the
bit about
only
that. Yeah.
dude that just nothing's hit in this time of like
and we need
scumbags.
him. Yeah, we need him.
Like Morgan Freeman's going down.
Is that crazy?
It's unbelievable.
I haven't heard the accusations, but do you guys think once the apocalypse hits, like political correctness goes out the door?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
I
Because
mean,
everyone's just hungry.
Yeah. Everybody's like, well,
it doesn't matter.
Where's Susan? Probably bitching about fucking pay gap difference.
Yeah, where's Susan? We ate her.
Yeah. The first one to go is the
I'll show you a
annoying
gap.
feminist.
The arm from your shoulder. There's a gap. Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah.
Well, we're lucky to be over here in WeHo because if the apocalypse does break out, what I know about 80s movies is you need to have like a catcher's mask, at least one shin guard,
Totally.
maybe some sort of like
What
mesh.
movie are you talking about?
Mad Max.
Mad Max, the second one, 100%.
Every like in the post-apocalyptic world, everyone's wearing like leather, and you got like one spiked
It's very
shoulder
sexy
pad.
in movies, the end of the world. It's very like sand and leather.
You're gonna have to shave your head immediately, cover your face with ash.
Let's do it right now. I'm ready.
Well, you said you were taking eyeliner, but I'm like, I'll just take charcoal. That does a lot of stuff. You know, you do the under here. And you can burn it. Yeah, multi-purpose stuff.
We break into
During
the
the
pleasure
apocalypse, you don't
chest.
want the sun getting in your eyes for sure.
No, you can't. You lose a fight that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Ray-Ban thieves go through the roof for theft. But you know what's funny? My favorite, I love apocalyptic movies. I've seen them, all of them. I love, even though there's no truth or possibility in this movie at all, Waterworld is my favorite one because they're like it's like Mad Max but on water.
Yeah,
that would never happen. Even if all the polar
never
ice
seen
caps
that.
would melt, we would have. Have you ever seen Waterworld?
No.
With Kevin Costner? It is
$300 million
It was
piece of work.
bombed. Well, they had a whole atoll built outside on the West Coast, like from here to Hawaii, and then a storm took it away, so I had to rebuild it. It was crazy, and it's about this guy who's like he's evolved and he has gills, and they call him the Submariner, and it's like it's essentially like it's unbelievable, and there's no part about it that's factual, and I'm like, man, that is a tough stick to draw in the apocalypse
Isn't that
world.
weird where like even though we know this is fiction, we want it somewhat based in reality.
Yeah,
like
well,
there's some basic rules
yeah.
like that has to be. You're like, oh, that would never happen. You're like, it's the Avengers. Nothing of it's enough. But that doesn't ring true.
And me, I go, there's not enough oxygen in the air if you like take out the trees.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, how are these guys breathing?
Yeah.
Come
Now
on.
the fish man I buy, but this is the breath thing? Come on.
Because there was a time in like the early 2000s where like Hollywood really loved to make waif models into like action stars.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was like these girls, and like I used to have a great bit about it. It's just like the only thing they're fighting is anorexia, right? It's like they can't even lift a gun.
Right,
but
they're fighting
like
hunger
kicking
pains.
everybody's ass.
Yeah.
Mila Jovovich, dude. She punched you, her hand would shatter.
Do you know how
dude.
heavy
Like,
those guns are? It's like, oh my.
Oh, and when you shoot them, your entire body
Oh
fucking
my
flies
God.
back.
The only thing realistic about that is you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, because when he does Terminator 2 and he cocks the gun and you go, yeah, a man made of metal could do that and feel no recoil.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the most factual thing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, because when you shoot a gun for the first time, you're like,
Oh.
oh fuck. They don't show you that kickback in the movies,
No.
right?
No.
Right?
Yeah, when we went shooting, the very first time I pulled the trigger, I immediately was like, ah.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe you
That
should
noise
try it.
came out.
Listen, dude, if you're anti-gun, you probably have never shot a gun. Like, you shoot a gun, you're like, oh, I get this. I fucking get this real good. You know what I'm saying?
We got gun fever like in the matter of a half an hour.
Yeah, I would like to go shoot more guns. I'd like to, understand that stuff a little more. But yeah, it's crazy. Once you shoot, you're like, I get this.
See, everyone's always like, I'm going to get bullets, I'm going to get water. But in a real post-apocalypse scenario, you need knives. All right? You need multiple knives, to be exact.
Oh, multiple knives?
So a Swiss Army.
Bushcrafting knives.
Bushcraft experts suggest 3 blades.
3 blades.
Do you know about bushcrafting?
No.
Wait, 3 blades like a shick? Like a.
So one should be
Mach.
a large fixed blade survival knife. Think about like Rambo,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
shanking fools.
Sure.
A second should be a small folded everyday task,
Yeah.
And then the final
Whittling knife.
Yep, and
One
final
should be a butter knife to butter your bread while you're moving.
I don't know how much
Sure.
butter they'll
Butter
do
your
left.
bagel. Got to get that in.
Man, butter really fell off in the apocalypse, bro.
Butter and butt eating right out the
Man,
window.
God
Damn it, the 2 B's.
R.I.P. butt.
The third should be a multi-tooled, like a Swiss Army knife. Right?
Yeah, for
Why
sure.
wouldn't you have a samurai sword in there?
That's what I always say. I'm like, what about a fucking sword?
Yeah, why not?
So bushcrafting, man,
You don't answer it. I think you're part of the. I think you're compromised.
you do have a katana sword. You look like a guy that has a katana
Oh, for
sword.
sure, dude.
Yeah, those are katana glasses. You
For
sure.
sure.
have a
I
katana
really want
sword.
to take samurai. There's like one of the last samurais in the world is downtown L.A. Like, I'd love to take
How are we
classes.
not
Wait, so,
doing
like,
that?
where is he? Japan? No, Compton.
Yeah, he's downtown Los Angeles.
He's at the Ace Theater.
Yeah.
Sushi chef, just
Yeah.
chopping that. You actually know one of the most world-class bushcraft party boys. Do you know what bushcraft party boys are?
Who? No.
I did. Your buddy Ari. He's one of
Yeah.
the 3 bushcraft party boys right now.
Oh, he's one of the 3?
Yeah.
The other one
We
is
do it. Bobby Kelly. So I produce Bobby Kelly's podcast, YKWD, in New York.
Riotcast.
Riotcast. Fuck yeah. Him, Ari, and Joe List are call themselves the Bushcraft Party Boys, and they go into the woods and they go pretend like they're intense camping with all their fucking knives and their bear bags, and they bring steaks. It's very glamorous.
Yeah.
But in their minds, they are the Bushcraft Party Boys.
How do you think that compilation, or that, I don't know if that's a word, but that group of genetics, how do you think that group would do during the apocalypse?
Oh, very bad.
Yeah.
I think Ari would survive. I think
You think
he's
of
the
all
one-
them, Ari would survive?
Yeah, he's a fucking scrappy little Jew.
Yeah.
And he's always naked, his balls are always
Yeah.
out, and he's okay with that. I think
Yeah.
he'd get fucking survival instincts. Joe List is very nervous.
Yeah.
He's got a small mouth.
Yeah.
He won't be able to blow. They
Yeah,
tried to
can't
start
s-
fire, and he couldn't even get the fire going. So
I love how that's where that blow went. He won't even be able to blow. I was like, who, the alpha dog?
Yeah.
Like, what are you?
Yeah.
No,
Trading
fire. He won't be able
blowjobs?
Which
to blow
one's gonna
fire.
end up being a trans at the end of it?
And then Bobby.
And Bobby. How do you think Bobby would do?
Bobby is very learned on all the bushcraft things, but he gets winded pretty fucking quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's
I
got
don't
the
think you're
father
meant to be
skills.
over 45 in the apocalypse.
there's a time limit.
Right. I
Yeah,
think
he
that-
really
yeah.
likes mowing his backyard, so
Yeah.
I think he'll probably just stick to that.
Yeah. How you guys run? I'm going to stay here, do some lawn maintenance.
Well, you
Hang
look
out with
at
my
that.
son.
A lot of that stuff, they're in those post-apocalyptic movies. They're all young.
Yeah.
Old people did not survive.
Yeah.
There's like one elder,
Oh, yeah.
in the
and he's
new-
30.
In the new Mad Max, remember the guy at the top of the
Course.
mountain? He was old. But you
he
got to be
was
like,
already
Mortem
at
Joe.
the top of the mountain.
yeah, he was already there. You can't be like
The
a
bad guy
peasant.
who was like, Arthur.
Here's a
Yeah.
forgotten one. Remember the postman?
Oh, brother, I own it.
And remember, so he goes to town, and the mayor, and he goes, weren't you? He's like, I once was. And it was Tom Petty. Was Tom Petty
It
in
was.
the future. He's like, I once was.
I like that.
And,
then he had to go
Amazing.
fuck it up and die from a drug overdose.
I feel like a little. I kind of killed Tom Petty in a way. Remember, we were driving by one of his last concerts by the Hollywood Bowl, and you're like, "What's all this shit?" I was like, "Man, it's Tom Petty. He's gonna be dead anyway soon."
Yeah.
And like a week later, Sam's like, "You killed Tom Petty."
Yeah.
I was like,
You had a prophecy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
You guys want people taken out, man? I can make it happen.
Yeah.
Fuck
for
yeah.
sure. I killed Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing. I did a joke about him, a zombie apocalypse, like it was Stephen Hawking being a zombie, like, you know. Literally 2 minutes later, he died.
2 minutes later.
I'm dead serious. And I got all these tweets like, "You fucking killed Hawkins, you asshole."
What if they took you down for that?
Yeah,
That was your Me
tried
Too.
for
They're like,
murder.
you fucking killed.
Yeah. What was Sam Tripoli known for? Was he a comic? I don't know. I just know that he murdered.
Yeah, he
somebody.
murdered a man trying
He
to
might
make
have
the
been a
world
He's
comic.
a
I don't really
witch.
remember.
He's a fucking witch.
Yeah, for sure. So you got 3 knives.
Yep, you need those. If you have an axe, that'd be good. But I mean, it is what it is.
Well, you got to chop wood.
You can just break. That's what these bushcraft, that real fixed thing, is designed for. So you use a rock to kind of.
Bushcraft is like the whole thing is metal, and then the handle is around the metal end. Usually knives are just metal and then attached to the wood end. I know this is audio medium.
No,
and I'm just
it's
fucking
fine.
doing an act out.
It's
but,
fine. No, there's actually cameras, so
So-
people on YouTube will like it.
So definitely, we got to get these 5 things in our bug out bag. Everything else, you guys figure out. And be sure you want some sort of headlamp. They have like headlamps like that actually are wind up style, so that they'll last longer because batteries ain't gonna last.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Russian one where you do this with your hand.
Yes.
And then it just goes.
Yeah. I mean, how about you just like chill out in your house till the sun comes back up? Like,
Yeah.
why are we walking around in the fucking dark in the forest at night?
We got to get out. When shit hits the fan, we got to move out of the metropolitan area.
Yeah,
See,
because
I
people
think-
start killing other people.
Well, I think the key is let everybody go crazy at first, then slowly make your way out.
You have
Like bunker down in your place with your guns, your lady, and and you just
Fucking
chill
girl
out.
and
A
your
staycation during the apocalypse.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Light a couple
Just
candles.
let shit
get
go nuts
cute.
for about 2 weeks.
Watch some DVDs. You
Let
guys always
people
said you
kill
do
each-
it. Yeah.
Just sit quietly, and then, dude, when it's done, move slowly through the night with rollerblades on. Rollerblades, I think, are a big key to the apocalypse.
Very cool.
To just get out of town
Very
and move
cool.
quickly without
Oh
needing
my
gas,
God.
right?
Oh, rollerblades and really short shorts.
Yeah,
You don't want the wind resistant of pants, bro. I'm
for
just,
sure. For sure.
After this podcast comes out, Amazon's going to be like rollerblades, bushcraft knives,
Yeah,
and
people,
tarps.
People
I don't know
who
what's
purchased
going
tarps
on right now.
also purchased rollerblades
Yeah, for sure, dude.
and
I think
butter.
I'm crazy, dude. Rollerblades are the key to getting out of town fast.
And stay away from grocery stores because that's where everyone's going.
So do you guys have pets? I know you do, Sam.
Yeah, she's surviving, dude. If you think I meet my dog, you're fucking nuts.
I'm not saying.
I'll kill everybody before I kill my dog. Everybody dies.
You know, it's good. Dogs can take care of them, like with you. They can take care of themselves. If you're like, let's go, the dog will just move on its own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get it.
Yeah,
They're
they
not like
get it,
fucking
bro.
cats that make you want to be homicidal.
What happens
and
with the
fuck weird shit.
toxoplasma people who are like, I fucking love my cat.
Yeah.
I can't leave it.
Yeah, they go to a place called Cat City that we built for them. It's just a big sandbox where they can shit.
They all worship the cat. There's this one cat up there, dude.
Jerry licking his balls?
Have you guys heard of these underground cities that are existing right now in the U.S. everywhere?
Yeah.
Underneath Vegas.
What?
There's.
I don't know that one. I know the underground tunnels.
Yeah, there's underground.
Oh yeah,
tunnels.
we've done a show on that.
But no, there's
Oh,
actual
thrilling.
cities beneath Vegas right now. Vegas is one of them where people are living in the tunnels.
yeah, but it's not like,
It's like a city, dude.
but it's like homeless people, right?
It's like the apocalypse started already. in
Oh, I
Vegas.
pictured a fucking like Atlantis for a second
Oh,
when you
no.
said
Yeah,
that.
I don't know what, because in LA where we were talking about those train system that's already there is just like
Homeless city.
homeless
Yeah.
crazy. Like you would have to go in there going, all right, the train's gonna start working. Let's round them up and like
Yeah.
find like Crocodile Guy and all the weirdos that were in the X Files.
people,
They're
yeah.
all down there, right?
Yeah. That's in New York too. There's a tunnel system in Romania. Did you know about this? There's under Bucharest, Romania, there's all these tunnels and all these orphanages got during the fucking revolution. All the orphanages got shut down, so there were all these kids that had nowhere to go. So they went into these tunnels under Romania, and they've lived there ever since. And they're all fucking. Your face is so funny. They're all deformed, and they huff drugs, so they're all literally like crippled under these.
Is that the future? Huffing drugs and all that shit?
It's crazy. They're all fucking tatted up. All of them have HIV for some reason.
I love how that my favorite thing about that is so like there's no order, there's no law down there, but there's a lot of tattoo parlors.
Yeah. Everyone's like, you want a flower?
Yeah.
You want a fucking flower?
You got that at Morty's?
And they
Dude,
blast
put the
club
Raider
music.
logo right there.
Yeah.
They
Oh
blast
my
club
god.
Of course, it's Europe. Club music
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's Eurotrash down there. They blast
They have
club
DJs.
music.
They only have
DJs.
DJs in tattoo parlors.
Like
Yeah.
if you took the opening seed to Blade and you just made it white trash, right? That's what that's Romanian underground. It's called
crazy.
that's clubbing right there.
Yeah, it's
how
fucking-
much you want this dog? Get a get a face tat and some HIV, and let's see if you fucking want in.
If you
dog.
like the club.
yeah, right. That's their initiation.
Yeah. I mean,
You like to dance?
Yeah.
Some
here.
people are just born into a world of shit, man, and just
crazy.
like that's what that is like Lord of the Flies right there. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you just let
And no
people
one's
to
coming to say,
themselves,
yeah.
and it's just like
Oh,
you're gonna
yeah.
have a face full of tats and a body full of AIDS
Yeah.
eventually.
And they just know they're down there, and they're like, yeah, that's the
Fuck it,
mall
dude.
people.
Yeah.
The reason I made that face is I went to Bucharest. I'm Romanian. And so
you really?
I
went to
grew up in
Bucharest,
these
too.
weird tunnels. No. I and
Look, you pull back
I
hair, you
pull
have a
back.
bunch of
It
tattoos.
just says
MS-13.
but I was there, and it's so like it's interesting. It's a very very interesting place because there's people are very friendly, but there is something every now and then you meet people and there's like a real oddity. And we met
It's a
this
little
guy.
spooky.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I was there for Christmas like 2-3 years ago, and my buddies and I went, and we hired a guy to take us around the country. And it was he was a guy that I'm like, if I told you, I'm like, oh, he's right there. You're like, dude, there's no one there. Oh, that guy, he's been dead for 40 years. He's one of that type of guy. He had the eyes of a man. I'm going to send you a pic. He had the eyes of a man that had seen 1,000 deaths. And it, like you just saw that guy. We're driving. I mean, it's unbelievable. And this guy, you could just tell like he feared nothing. And I was like, I wonder where that guy grew up. What's that guy's story?
You know, it's like we always hear these things about like, oh, in the 1700s there's the plague. You're like, that shit is all going on right now somewhere that Rachel Maddows on MSNBC isn't telling you about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, it doesn't affect us. It's like when I was overseas, and then there was a before Syria was sort of closed off. There was like a huge. I can't remember what happened. A bomb exploded in Syria. It didn't even make like the first 7 pages of an American newspaper.
Yeah.
And it was like I was in Japan, and it was like all over the news. Like this happened in Syria. These many people died. Nothing. I called my dad. I said, "What page is that on?" He's like, "Oh, let me flip through." It was like 8, I think was the page.
Dude, when the first invasion of Iraq, or when we invaded Iraq the second time around after 9/11, like a year and a half after,
Yeah.
there were humongous protests all over the world, and the news didn't tell you
At all.
any of it. And that's why I just laugh at people. It's like you trust these people who have busted lying to you 1,000 times before, and you just like you know, this is a conspiracy show, and we talk about it. The difference between us and everybody else is we keep score. Like we keep score. When other people just move on, it's almost like a goldfish mentality. It's like, what's next? What's next? It's like this. You have no object permanence. Like everything is for the first time, and you want super trust. It's like I've seen this script fucking before, man. We live in crazy.
You know what's funny about object permanence is they were saying with social media and everything that people are going to be starting to get dementia in their 30s and 40s.
Whoa.
Because we can't retain anything. And so it's unbelievable. So
the notion that people are dumber now than ever, I just don't agree with that. People are just oversaturated with useless knowledge.
well,
now.
their brain doesn't retain. Like
you
they
only
learn-
have so much
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
What is the other 90% of your brain being used at?
Dude.
It's got to be for the simulation
It's
machine,
holding
right?
water,
That's what
right?
There's
runs.
something.
Right? It's got to be the simulation machine that sits like it's Wi-Fi. So the aliens who are running everything, that's how they keep you moving.
plug
Yeah.
in.
There's
Yeah.
just a little alien in there, like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Krang from.
just driving stick shift for some reason.
2 stick shift. He's like, it's like a forklift truck for this dude. He's like, it's like, those claw machines where you have like 2. He's like, oh man, I didn't mean to pee. Now I'm pooping. We can't get it. We're like, it's like when you drop your phone and you can't get it right away. There's a guy in your head going like, no. Can never get the bear.
Checking all the mirrors.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
Backing up.
Objects made hippier, big, smaller than they.
Oh, shit. Well, hey, guys, where can everyone find everything about you guys? Everything. Let me know where. Tell them all where they can
Cool.
find.
You can follow me personally on Instagram at Gabby is Bryan, and then listen to Apocalypse. We're on Instagram, The Apocalypse. Funny shit, rate and review, and then YKWD podcast with Robert Kelly. Check that out too.
I love
Awesome.
it, John. I forgot to. Do you have any gigs coming up, by the way, that you want to push?
I have a monthly show in Brooklyn. If you're out there, it's called Jiggy with It. Just check me up on Instagram. Yeah.
At Jonathan Kite, JONATHANKITE, and then I will be in St. Louis. I got to remember this because I'll be there this weekend. They're doing a St. Louis Comedy Festival.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this coming week, and I'm going to be there with Ian Bagg.
Nice.
And
Cool.
yeah, it should be pretty great. So we're pretty excited about it.
Well, I'm super happy for you, man. You guys were great on the show. Thanks
for having me.
having us.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
guys,
you.
this comes by the time you hopefully hear
Tomorrow.
this, San Francisco. Come on, come get weird, dude. We sold a bunch of tickets up front, so I think we'll be fine. But let's do it. I love you guys. Leave those 5-star reviews. Check out all the new T-shirts, man. We got so many new T-shirts. All comedyt-shirts.com. Bye.